without regard to whether or not they pose a danger to the community or whether they will abscond and disappear, right? A good example of that happening recently was when President Trump en masse pardoned more than 1,500 convicted felons who were Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, rioters, insurrectionists who assaulted 150 police officers right here on the Capitol campus. And departing from the traditional process of examining each case individually, which is what the Department of Justice has done in the pardon office, he just pardoned all of them. So he didn't look to see which ones had been convicted before of domestic violence, armed robbery, other forms of felony crimes. Some of them had no criminal records. Some of them had serious violent criminal records. All of them were released. And what do you know? Dozens of them have since reoffended since that terrible process took place. One guy recently, Andrew Paul Johnson in Georgia, was released by Donald Trump, pardoned by him, got out of jail, and went and sexually assaulted two 12-year-olds. And when they and their families were about to go to the police to report the crimes, he said, well, I'm about to get millions of dollars from Donald Trump because I'm a J6er. I'll split the money with you if you don't go in. Thankfully, they went and they reported in the police. He was prosecuted. He was just sentenced to life in prison. But those two kids' lives are irrevocably altered because of the process that took place, which was no process, which is I'm just going to go ahead and release everybody. We've had other J6ers who were pardoned by Donald Trump who have since been convicted of offenses including domestic violence, violent assault, home invasion, and so on. So I could not agree more with the point that people should not be getting out of jail or prison without any regard to the danger that they pose to the community. Now, how does this all relate to bail? Well, I hope we agree that nobody should be getting out of jail without regard or without the court taking analysis of whether they're a flight risk or whether they pose a danger to the community. That's what the focus should be. So certain jurisdictions have said, including the federal system, that's all we need to know. You could be the richest person in the world. You could be worth $1 billion. It doesn't make any difference. If you're a flight risk, if you're a community danger, we're not going to let you out. Conversely, you might be the poorest person in the world.
Damn.
But if you pose no flight risk, if you pose no danger, then you should be allowed to be released because that is the constitutional presumption, the presumption of innocence. So the injection of a financial payment into the process just confuses the issue. Now, I'm not saying every state has got to follow what the federal courts do and what we've done for more than 60 years. That's up to them. That's a question of federalism. That's why I'm trying to prefigure where this whole inquiry leads. It looks like it's leading to an attack on the states who want to do it the way the federal system has done it for more than a half century. And I'm just raising the point that I think we should look very carefully before we go down that road and we impose a different view on the states and some kind of straitjacket as to their criminal justice policies that we don't accept for ourselves, because the current system is working great here. So I agree with the prior speaker. We don't want people getting out of jail for any reason, whether it's bail or parole or a pardon from the president, without due consideration of what the effects are going to be on the community. I am now prepared to offer. Are you? Oh, you're waiting. Okay. Then we have no further speakers, and we're prepared to close as well.
The gentleman is recognized.
Then, but I would just say I want to thank the gentleman for his bill. I'm going to vote for his bill. More information is always better. I've got no problem with that. The only thing I reject is the insinuation that the states that do it differently from the federal system are somehow better than the states that do it in accord with the federal system. We've had cashless bail at the federal level for many decades, and our system zeroes in on the critical criteria of whether or not this criminally charged suspect poses a flight risk or a danger to the community. And I hope that we can continue the conversation about what we can really do to advance and enhance community safety. And I yield back.
The gentleman from Maryland yields back. The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I do thank the gentleman from Maryland for his support of this bill and for his statements, and do hope that we will be able to continue conversations. I would say in closing, Mr. Speaker, how many more victims must there be before we act? Cashless bail policies have proven to be a disaster. Soft on crime jurisdictions have released criminals on mere promises to reappear in court without adequately considering the flight or safety risk they pose to those around them. And I believe the American people would believe their enough is enough. The American people deserve to live in safety. The American people deserve safe public transportation. The American people should not have to live with the consequences of reckless bail policies, and it should not take brutal murders for these reforms to happen. We must stop prioritizing ideology over safety. We must stop playing politics with bail policy, and we must fight for a safer America, regardless of state or locality. I urge all members to stand for public safety and to support this bill. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time. Jim.
Welcome, lads. We-On-Loc Nation here. How are y'all? I played this particular clip based on, but it's relatable. This boy just he sued the government, and now he's refunding the money back. $1.7 billion. $1.7 billion. And that money is going where? That money is not going to the American people. No. It's going to his buddies from J6 and other people that he had just pardoned not too long ago. You remember what I said? I believe it was the day before, that Trump said verbatim that he doesn't care about what the American people think, or whatever the case. I'm paraphrasing. He could care less about the American people. His job, his duty, his specific duty was to see that Iran did not carry or created a nuclear weapon. Meanwhile, your gas prices are still up and rising, and continues to rise. 3 cents, 4 cents, whatever. Continues to rise. You're paying 99, almost to 100 to 200 a barrel. Food prices are still up. People are making life decisions. People are making life decisions on what to do with their money. Because obviously, and another thing, this is what I heard. As soon as the war is over, Doge is going to be coming out with those checks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a year and a half. A year and a half. Wars don't. He proclaimed that this war was going to be over in a cinch, about 2-3 weeks, 76 days. 76 days. And our military is big stuff. No, it isn't. Because if it was, apparently Iran would have had waved the white flag. Do you know how big Iran is? Let's just say they had a fight. Let's just say it was U.S. versus China. U.S. or China has just as much military soldiers, military equipment as the U.S. They develop over time, just like the U.S. does, just like the U.S. But who is more disciplined? Right now, you have a maniac who can't stay off True Social long enough to hear out what the American people say. The American people, white Republicans, wrote to this guy expressing their concern. They're going away from him. They're going away. They want a little or nothing to do with Trump. Little to nothing. You had people on panels, all Republicans, who were complaining about what Trump is doing in America, or excuse me, for America, which ain't much at all. I would say, if you want a better economy, if you are hurting, if you are really hurting at this point, at this moment, I would suggest you would vote the opposite of a Republican. You can vote, I'm not saying vote democratically. You can just vote independent. Do whatever you have to do, because it's not gonna matter much, because these people, as far as voting is concerned, they want state involved. They want the people to vote for them, or rather, they want to vote for the people, not the people voting for them. So you got this whole cluster, you know what, about these maps, and people are starting to get confused, including white people. They are clearly confused because of how the maps are being drawn. Case in point. Let me see if I can find it. Case in point, because I had. Oh, let me play this real quick.
Just so I understand, the president threatened to sue his own government, then agreed to drop the suit in exchange for the creation of a $1.7 billion fund to pay what a lot of people assume will be largely his friends and allies?
You've got that right, Chris. This is an absolutely astounding development. Now, Donald Trump was wronged by a contractor who was working for the IRS, who is now serving 5 years in prison because he leaked his tax return. So that part of this is legitimate. But the idea that Donald Trump could sue his own government, and then the people that Donald Trump has appointed to run the Justice Department are in charge of being supposedly taking an adversarial position to Donald Trump's lawsuit, that was never realistic. And now we've seen the sort of absurd end result of this, which is that he's dropping his lawsuit. They're creating this massive fund
of taxpayer money that they are going to dole out now, not to Donald Trump personally, but to people they say have been victims of weaponization. This idea, though, of weaponization, Chris, by the way, has never been proven. They've had the records. I keep saying this for a year and a half. They own all the records. They've not produced a shred of evidence that any action by the Justice Department in the previous administration was motivated by bias or politics or was somehow inappropriate. They just haven't done it, but yet they keep saying it. And the idea that former January 6th defendants or many of the people prosecuted in the Russia investigation or by Jack Smith or investigated by Jack Smith are going to now reap a financial beneficiary from taxpayers. I would argue that's going to get a lot of not only Democrats and people on the left, but independents paying very close attention to what's going on here, Chris.
I have to ask Peter the question, though, then to follow that up.
Turn against Trump.
Peter, how are Americans, we just did the whole segment about how they're saying very clearly, we're hurting. You need to pay attention to what we need. How are they supposed to react to $1.7 billion going to people who claim that they were somehow targeted unfairly?
Yeah, and by the way, it's people unfairly targeted as Trump defines it, not the other way around. There's a lot of people who think they're being targeted unfairly by Trump's Justice Department, and there's a lot of, by the way, judges and grand juries who have agreed with that assessment. To the opposite of Ken's point, where there hasn't been that kind of finding with regard to the other administration. So does that mean that supporters of Joe Biden can now go to the government and say we think that Trump has weaponized government against us and give us money? I mean, this is a remarkable thing. As Ken just said, we've never seen anything like this. The President of the United States is using taxpayer money to pay off his supporters and allies, and in a way that's not judged by an independent body.
So about those
panel of judges or something like that, but by a panel that he will be in charge of, he will control. And this is, who are we talking about here? It may not go to the president himself, but will it go to people who stormed the Capitol on January 6, 2021? That seems like a possibility, doesn't it? And I think that's something that.
Oh, by the way, the UPS people, you know who I'm talking about. The UPS people, the foundational Black Americans, they want your reparations. Oh boy, there went 1.7 billion, even though 1.7 billion wouldn't even fit the bill. But I'm saying part of that money, that's shit, not even a third. We're talking about in the trillions, but most of that went to the fight in Iran, and now it's going to his, well, let me not tell you. Let somebody else tell you.
Reparations. Targeting officers, threatening to hang Mike Pence, all of this in attempts to stop an election because their guy lost and they didn't like that. When it comes to those group of people, many of which who were, messing with children, who were violent criminals, who had done heinous crimes already that were let off via Trump. When it comes to those people, well, we've got to reward them. All right, we've got to reward them due to the political targeting that was done during the Biden administration. That's what you have to understand. Many of you reward them.
Trump administration live updates. 1.8 billion fund could funnel money to Trump's allies. Trump's allies. Could it be from the people from 9/11? Could it be from the people in prison that, he's probably let out already? Probably, gave them a good. Can with this money, can you let out P. Diddy? Can you let out P. Diddy? Can you let him out? Nah, huh? No, I thought he liked. I thought he liked black people. Oh, I thought he was down with black people. Damn, that's rough. That's rough, dude. That is rough.
Due to the political targeting that was done during the Biden administration. That's what you have to understand. Many of you may be upset at this. I'm not one of those people. To me, this makes perfect sense. In America, this makes absolute 100% sense. Because for those of you who don't understand, what recently happened is that Trump had like a $10 billion lawsuit against the U.S., right? Because one of the people of the IRS leaked his tax returns and he's suing them. So what they did is Trump dropped all the lawsuits in exchange for this weaponization, fund.
Just in the last hour, the Justice Department announcing a settlement after President Trump dropped his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS over leaked tax returns.
As part of this deal, the DOJ unveiling a $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund to pay damages to Trump's allies.
Taxpayer money, just so we're clear. Now, this money is going to go towards those who are politically targeted via the Biden administration. What the hell did you just say? If y'all don't remember, there were a group of people in Trump's eyes via this administration that believe that were wrongfully targeted during the Biden administration. Yes, you guessed it. Holy smokes, you guys are, high IQ. That's correct. The J6ers.
The Justice Department has this new fund that was announced today, $1.7 billion.
Yeah.
Why should taxpayers pay for the January?
Well, it's been very well received. I have to tell you, I know very little about it. I wasn't involved in the whole creation of it and the negotiation. But this is reimbursing people that were horribly treated. It's anti-weaponization. They've been weaponized. They've been, in some cases, imprisoned wrongly. They paid legal fees that they didn't have. They've gone bankrupt. Their lives have been destroyed. And they turn out to be right.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, it was a terrible period of time in the history of our country, and they worked on it. I know the Justice Department has really been working on it very hard. There's been numerous other occasions over the years where things like this have been done, but these were people that were weaponized and really treated brutally by...
Mind you, these are the same people who injured, I think it was 16 police officers, defecated on the window, on the wall, jumped on top of the desk, sat on the chairs, and, pissed all everywhere. I mean, we're talking about these people. But yeah. No one seems to notice. No one seems to care. And this is the reason why this goof is able to release all of his buddies or give money to all of his buddies who were, eerily responsible for what just happened. Now, if it was in a Biden administration, I clearly don't know. But needless to say, I would not be surprised if he went the Obama route. If he goes the Obama route, somebody please give me $1 million. Give me $1 million, because this has been right on point. Right on freaking point. But it doesn't stop there.
A system that was so corrupt, with corrupt people running it, and they're getting reimbursed for their legal fees and the other things that they had to suffer.
And also, I just want you to definitely understand that it's going to include those hurt by DEI, CRT, all the, black fatigue and how they bastardize that term. All of that is going to, I would bet my bottom dollar, is going to be incorporated into this.
Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly.
And just to interrupt for a second, I want to let everyone know of.
So in other words, anyone, let's just say HBCU, that does not let any white minorities in to their school, they can get fined for that. Yeah. This is HBCUs. The one that supposedly, allegedly, Donald Trump gave $20 million to versus Joe Biden gave $400 million to HBCUs. Oh, boy.
BlackVoteWatch.org. A lot more coming up, but the goal is actually America. Now, out of all the promises that he failed to fulfill, this isn't a bad participation trophy. I'll give him that, right? Because, due to his low historic polling numbers, due to the backlash of the Iran war when he promised no new wars, due to the rising gas prices, due to the rising oil, all of this, he's figured, hey, let me give the dog a bone, all right? Let me give him a bone. And I would argue this is probably going to change the sentiment.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
This is what they are giving is essentially, in effect, white reparations. That's what they're doing. They're giving white reparations. And I mean, hey, that's as American as it gets. I don't know what to tell you. Now, having said that, I am very curious where all the hashtag cut the check people are. I'm very curious where all the people are like, Kamala ain't black, she Indian. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Where all those people at? Where is Black Alpha and all them type of characters? Where's Dave Anderson? Where is Tariq? Tariq don't care. Tariq does not care. Anything that makes him money. If he has to sleep with white women and try to spin it as if, oh, this is just temporarily, y'all. This is just temporarily, fam. He doesn't care. He does not fucking care. Is the name of the stupid just a stupid name. I haven't seen the movie.
What do they have to say about this, huh? Was this really worth it? Okay.
Before I continue, share, and subscribe to the channel. Share, subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend. So that's just too funny. Please support the channel. The Cash App, the Super Chat is up along with the Cash App, so you can Cash App me at Desi 88. I forgot my Cash App name. I had to put it up. Barb, could you put it up for me, please, real quick?
Because you didn't like that she did collard greens in the bathtub. You giving white people reparations. Was it really worth it?
Come on now, dog.
With the pattern that we've seen in this country, yeah, why wouldn't we give reparations to white people? A matter of fact, I'm going to go so far, hey, what about the Barbary slave trade, okay? There were white people who were slaves, okay? You have to understand, hey, when it comes to discrimination, I wouldn't be surprised if these people, this administration, did mental gymnastics to say that actually the people who were harmed via slavery, via Jim Crow were actually white people.
I never thought about it like that.
That's what you have to understand. It was actually white people who were harmed the most, okay, during slavery. Because, it wasn't until after we ended slavery that, we had all the cotton gin, all the revolution that occurred from this, the Industrial Revolution that came about. So it was actually white people, who were truly harmed by slavery. Damn, I would not put that past him, okay? I would not put that past him. You have to understand that his team is on code, fam.
It's just like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like white people are getting mad, not everyone, but the majority of white people who are involved, who have involved themselves into this prejudiceness, they are upset that you would be upset if apparently, if you voted for somebody, let's just say if you are African American, you want to vote for somebody who is either African American or better. We're not voting for anybody who is white and racist. I would think that would be the norm. But abnormally, they want you to vote for them. Abnormally. But they want to get mad because they want you to be upset that slavery was abolished in 1865. They want you to be upset. It's like, why would you take this away from us Southerners? Why would you do that? We were making money over you, Negroes. We were making money hand over fist. And then all of a sudden you wanted to be freed. Little did they know that most of them weren't free. That is crazy. I live in a non-black neighborhood. And congratulations.
His team is on code. I have never seen a group of people more on code than the people in his cabinet. You have the AG fam, who's coming out talking about, you know what, there's proof of fraud of the election.
Because recently Susie Wiles, the president's chief of staff, made an interesting comment that a lot of our audience was perked up about. And here's what she said. Watch this.
We had a lovely dinner, and at the end of it, he wanted to know why he won Florida, but maybe struggled in some other states that I think we're going to find out he actually did win. But I wrote like an after-action report, gave it to him to read.
So she just said that we're going to find out that President Trump actually did win certain states in the 2020 election. Now, the president says all the time that the election was rigged. What have you done about that? Do you have any evidence that the election was rigged? What can you tell us?
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not something the DOJ needs to tell you about. There's been evidence about that for many, many years.
Now, you have to understand that's what Trump has been saying this entire time. That, hey, this was fraud. They stole the election from me. All this. You have the AG coming out. Oh yeah, there's more than enough proof. There's fraud in the election. I mean, we'll get to that when it comes. Blah blah blah. Bro, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We had the FCC chair who was talking about, hey, we're going to strip people's licenses.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
When we talk about being on code, fam, this is what on code looks like. This is what on code looks like. Everybody. Pete Hank said, everybody's on code, brother. And you have people say, hey, this is a good thing, all right? This is a benefit that the gas prices are high because we're defeating terror. That's what we're doing. We're stopping terror. You can't really put a number on terror. I mean, come on now. Beta. It's wild to see, man. It's really wild to see. And you're seeing all these people who are just going, I'm like, yo, I genuinely don't know if we will see any type of bloodbath during the midterms. I don't know if we will have a Democrat president in 2028. I don't know, because I think the country I think the country is toast, bruh.
What he's trying to say is you have blacks who have merely given up. Merely. You got too much division. You got too much divisiveness. Got too many. You got Adolfs on one side, FBA on the other, Indians, Blackfeet. I'm still trying to figure that shit out too. So how are you an African American and all of a sudden you are a damn Indian? But that's a different story for a different day. I'm not trying to get into that. Where Barb? But I'm at a loss for words. I am. But again, we will see what happens in November. Right now, what I'm seeing right now is, AOC. Did anybody see AOC's, I think it was a conference or a meeting or something today? I mean, she was preaching, boy. She was preaching. She was preaching to the crowd, including black people. Yeah. So she was doing her thing, and perfectly so. Congratulations. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett is all over Texas doing what she has to do. And I hope to God she sees she sees the craziness that's going on. She does see the craziness, and she does see, and I want to give a shout out real quick to Justin Pierce. Justin Pearson. Justin Pearson, you are doing your thing, brother. You are doing your thing. And Jasmine Crockett is literally going state to state, city to city, and getting these people to do some early voting. It has to be done. Has to be done. Otherwise, but there needs to be, what else besides the voting are you willing to do? Are you willing to give? Are you willing to sacrifice a little? Absolutely. That's what you're going to have to do. And if you have to kick somebody's ass, then kick somebody's ass. I mean, apparently they want to kick yours because they want to kick yours politically, because white folks, not all, white folks feel that they've been done wrong, that they deserve reparations. They deserve reparations. Their civil rights was being, ignored or something like that. That's Klan talk. Klan people think that we're having America stripped away from us by the dark people and the mud people and the chink people. What the hell? They do this every year. Every goddamn year. They sit up there with their bullhorn. Oh, those are the American people have been screwing the pure white Christian white man. Meanwhile, you have Donald Trump serving them up, So here's some candy. Here's some candy. Here's some gumdrops. And just ignoring. There was I know we covered this already, but remember those people in Louisiana? I think it was either Louisiana or it was either Alabama or Louisiana when they had that meeting, right? And the I think it's a senator or ambassador or whatever, he kept saying, we will not have any disrespect. We will not have any disrespect in my courtroom. We will not have any disrespect It was like, how do we disrespect you? You called me a liar. Well, the shoe fits word. I do believe that we are going to have a victory, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna keep saying it. It's gonna be a long hill. It's gonna be a long hill for African Americans. But the only way we're gonna get anything done is that the African Americans who practice common sense are going to have to align themselves with people who I would say aren't them, like whites who have clearly have given up on this administration or can't stand Trump. It's either or. I mean, they either can't stand Trump or they quit or it's something else of that matter. But I mean, it has to be. It has to be something. But they're literally getting sick and tired of Trump. Black folks, we know what stuff is like. Oh, so he's doing this again. And it's like, again, you got white farmers, you got retired police officers, agents, war veterans writing to this administration and telling them their feelings, and they're just getting ignored. They are clearly getting ignored by Donald Trump. And he feels like he's doing right for the people, but he knows he's not. He knows he's not doing right for the people. I mean, is he going to? My question. Here's one of my questions. Here's one of my questions. Is he going to end the war in Iran? Is he going to end the war in Iran this week? Is he going to end the war in Iran next week? Is he going to end the war in Iran the following week? You know how I know? Because the money is good to him. And it's good to the people who put him in this position. Any other president would have told Israel, no, no, fight them yourself. We're not involving any of this mess. We're not going to get involved. And you remember what Trump said in his first term, where no wars, paraphrasing, there will be no wars. Look what he's doing his second term. So you tell me, do you think he's delusional, or do you think he's just doing this on purpose? Do you think he's absolutely going to just turn this thing around and have those gas prices drop lower than they dropped from $6 on to $2? Is he going to do anything about, the cost of rent? Is he going to do anything about the cost of groceries? Is he going to do anything about tuition? At least people still got to pay their tuition, I'm going based off of his word. I'm going based off of his word. He said, I don't care for the American people's jibber jabber right now or about the economy. I am focusing on the war in Iran because the Iranians are going to build a nuclear weapon and I'm not going to allow it. These are his words, not mine, not yours. He said that. You're the ones that are suffering, but that you are still here jugging and jogging on my live stream talking bullshit when you are clearly getting affected. That's like a bad disease. That's like a bad disease, but you're going to go after the person who didn't even get it. You're going after the person who told you this is a bad disease. You're going to say, fuck you. Fuck you. I was like, but she gave it to you. Why are you cussing me out? This broad gave it to you, not me. Pause. In other words, you are getting mad at me or something of Trump, what is Trump's doing right now. And it's been over a year and a half. Would Biden do this? No. Even though I don't, would Biden do this? No. Would Obama do this? No. I don't even think George Bush would do this. George Bush Jr.? No, he wouldn't do this. Not even George Bush Sr. There have been 10 wait, let me scrap that. I didn't know that. Paid a French company $1 billion to end the project for wind farms. You need wind farms. Why would he stop the Wow. And that bullshit, what happened in Maine. Remember that oil spill that went into the water? Did they clean that up yet? Their clear energy, big oil and gas says no. Here's my other question. We got oil here in America, right? Why aren't we drilling? Didn't he say drill, baby, drill? He was elected to say it by the people. Deal with it. I don't have to deal with shit. I can just pack my shit up and go to Ghana and just live there for the rest of my life. While you people live there to suffer. I don't want to see none of you motherfuckers near me. I was like, oh, you voted for Trump, right? Yeah, but BAM! But I changed. Bah! Turn your ass right around and go to them goddamn, go to the sympathy league. We have no sympathy for you. We have no sympathy for you, sir. Nope. Or ma'am. You, Pam Bondi, Christy Knoll, Marjorie Taylor Greene, y'all can go in there in the sympathy line. I ain't got nothing for you. Whatever. It's too late in the day to be arguing with a racist. But let me continue.
Maybe this is a foreign attack. Maybe this is, and maybe it's Israel. Maybe Israel's turned our back on America, God forbid, and they have somehow poisoned the water supply. I'm just trying to understand how the IQ of the country has rapidly declined in such a short period of time, I would think. Or maybe it was this bad all along. Maybe I was just living the bubble. I did not see the deterioration of this country. Maybe that's what it is, because I don't know, man. This is wild. Reparation for white people, gas being $200 a barrel, oil being $200 a barrel, is a positive because we're eliminating terror. Anyways, guys, that's a video. Let me know what you guys think, whether or not you believe this is horrible, Lucas. I can't believe he'd be, wasting taxpayer dollars on such nonsense, on supporting these people. Or if you believe, what do you mean? Like, how can you say this at this point in time, right? Like, how can you say this at this point? Of course he's going to do that, bro. Of course he's going to do that. You mean the same people were talking about back the blue when it came to black victims who are now attacking law enforcement because they didn't like that their guy didn't win the election? Of course, this is hypocrisy.
They know what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. They're not stupid. They know exactly what they were doing. That's why the people. The governor from Alabama said, "Oh, I hope they get rid of the 14th Amendment." I'm like, oh damn! If they get rid of the 14th Amendment, they might as well get rid of the 13th Amendment, which they probably will. Well, let's see what weak ass what the House does. We're gonna see what the House does with their weak selves. I don't. After what I've been hearing, I don't care much about the House anymore. I don't care much about the House anymore. I usually give them like, you know, I usually give people a second chance, but I don't like giving people second or third chances anymore. Because of how you get duped. You know how, especially when I voted for Obama, right? I was in my 20s when I voted for Obama. Clearly mistaken little old me. Little old me did not know anything about politics or anything of that nature. I didn't know anything about that. So I said, I just voted with my eyes closed and said, I'm voting for Obama. 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 Acting like I was D-riding or something, pause, and like voted for him twice. But then somebody reminded me about who Obama truly was. And you all know me. I I don't mind doing a whole video on Obama. I really don't. Or Michelle. But I can't default Michelle for anything. So I just usually just leave women out of it. But him, no. Mr. I don't give an apology for slavery. Mr. I don't believe in reparations. No, we ain't gonna let that slide. I've given them too many sliding passes. Mm-hmm. Now I don't want Barb or anybody getting mad at me because it's in his book. I don't want you getting mad at me, fam. I love you with all my heart, but reality is reality. You know what I mean? Reality is fucking reality. And he said what he said, including kicking out 2 young black kids who clearly asked him, what is your preparation? What is your task for us? Meaning black people. How did they end up getting kicked out? And he was a senator, mind you. He was a senator. How did they end up getting kicked out of that stadium? I didn't know what to think then because I was naive to this shit. And clearly when I see, and I don't get into Obama conversations, especially in barbershops. Why? Because there are too many Obama lovers. And I really hate to see Obama on the pictures with Malcolm and Martin and Freddie Lou Hamer and Fred Hampton and all them characters. I really hate that. I really hate that because that's insinuating that you did a good thing. No, you didn't. No, you did not. I have a question to ask you. When was the last time you've gotten laid by a black woman? Probably never. Just sit there in the corner and think about what you're saying because I could go there with you, but again, I don't have the temperament for it. I don't have the temperament for stupid people. See, people get just like the cowards in Louisiana, just like the cowards in Alabama, just like the cowards in Mississippi, just like the cowards in Virginia. You got too many people you got too many whites getting away with everything. They're trying to make this country a white only country. And it is proven through the South. I mean, look at the South and the way it is right now. Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia. But at least Georgia has enough sense to say, I'm going to wait until November because we're not going to redraw anything. So I'll give them that. But America itself has issues and Ben had issues. You think voting your way to the top is going to do anything for you? No, it's not. Not alone. It's just like fighting with strength and strength alone. It's not going to be enough to succeed. You need staying power. And you're going to need the numbers. And sometimes you're just going to have to sacrifice a little. You're going to have to sacrifice going along and getting along with the Latino brothers and sisters who have been through the same similar shit when they were taken away by ICE and being put in trucks and stuff like that. You're just going to have to swallow a bit. You're just going to have to swallow a bit. And you're going to have to swallow with some whites and the ones that have just are fed up with Trump. Just totally fed up with Trump. I know the farmers are fed up with Trump. I know white farmers are fed up with Trump. I'm just saying, you just got to swallow your pride a little bit. Because we're only 13% of the population. No, I don't drink, asshole. Listen and listen close. Are you not getting on this thing, or you just like listen to your own fucking self? Do you not want to listen? Boom, there's a fucking door. It's your lives on the line, not mine. Because I can give a fuck less. I can just go. I can just get my passport and climb the fuck up on out of here and wait for the Burkina Faso to get built up within a couple of years. You're not getting it. You're not getting it at all. Because quite frankly, what's happening now is it because of the Section 2, actually it was Section 5, the only thing that was keeping you alive was Section 2. Section 2 has been gutted. Meaning you have a right to vote, but you're going to have to vote for the person who is fucking available. Which means it could be anybody. What if it was David Duke, a former Ku Klux Klan member? A former Ku Klux Klan member who is, is representing you. You want David Duke to represent you, a former Ku Klux Klan member? Nah, I didn't think so. Or it could be, I don't know, what's his name? Ted Cruz? I don't know much about Ted Cruz. Do I really want to know about Ted? And Gavin Newsom, by the way. To hell with Gavin Newsom. What I heard, and what I thought I heard, maybe you can check me on it, because I thought I heard what I didn't really hear, but I rewind the tape back so I can hear what I thought I heard. Did I not hear him say that Democrats should have a meeting on getting rid of the 14th Amendment or some degree? Did I hear Gavin Newsom say that? Is he agreeing with Republicans that the 14th Amendment should be abolished? I could have swore he said that. I could have swore that came out of his mouth. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Support the channel. Support the channel if you like the video. As Cash App is set up, Super Chat is set up, blah, 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 blah. I could have swore he said that. Tell me he did not say that. If he didn't say that, then I'll let it go. But I could have swore he said that. Oops.
Most Americans who are struggling to pay their pay their grocery bills, struggling to pay their gas bills, and are watching the President of the United States, who, by the way, is personally profiting off this presidency in remarkable ways. 3,700 stock transactions were reported the other day in the first quarter alone.
What about the summer of 2020?
Billions of dollars coming into him and his friends and his family and the allies from various business ventures. That doesn't help anybody pay their bills.
Come up with more than just
Joyce. Is this legal?
What about it?
You know, this is just rank corruption. I think we're well past the point where we can afford to pretend and use pretty words to dress up the way this president is running government. This is taxpayer funding that he will siphon off to use to compensate his allies, to reward his allies. And one of the reasons it's, I think, very difficult for the public, other than our viewers who are very wrapped up in what's going on, but for casual observers to understand just how corrupt this is because of the way the administration dresses it up in the language of weaponization. So that if you're just an average American with, a life to live, you might think, well, this is just politics. Republicans talk about weaponization, Democrats talk about weaponization.
You said blacks went crazy in summer of 2020. What did they do? Elaborate, remind me.
But what we've seen the administration do today.
All I saw was whites went crazy at the Capitol in Washington. That's what I saw. That's what clearly I saw. I mean, they didn't show everything, but they showed everything. And that was crazy to me in itself. I mean, Trump spilled some beans that day.
I think very starkly puts on display the corruption that we're seeing from how this administration is handling the matter. Because the January 6th defendants, they weren't convicted by the Biden Justice Department. They were charged, and then their cases went to juries of their peers. They went in front of...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but no. That's my fault. That's my fault because Biden was still in office, but later on had to step down because of an illness, and then that's when Kamala Harris took over. Never mind.
Of judges, all of their due process rights were accorded to them, and then they were convicted. That's not weaponization. That's the criminal justice process working. What the Trump administration is now claiming as justification for creation of this $1.7 billion fund is a fund that was roughly half that size, the Keepseagle Fund, that was created during the Obama administration to compensate Native American farmers and ranchers for fully proven discrimination. It was systemic discrimination that denied Native farmers and ranchers credit. And so that fund was devised to restore them to the position that they should have been in. That's nothing like what we're looking at today. This fund, which is designed to permit the president to transfer your tax dollars and my tax dollars to people who supported him on January 6th and in some of his other ventures. That, quite frankly, is how a corrupt government operates.
So if you are, Ken, someone who feels that the Trump administration, that the government has been weaponized against you, is there any sense in applying for this to this fund?
When it comes to the war in Iran. And he says he meant it. This weekend, he called that a perfect. President Trump says he is not thinking at all about Americans' financial well-being when it comes to the war in Iran. And he says he meant it. This week, President Trump says he is not thinking at all about Americans' financial well-being when it comes to the war in Iran. And he says he meant it. This weekend, he called that a perfect statement. But new polling shows that Americans don't really feel his work on the economy is perfect. With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Etten. So not perfect at all when you compare their feelings about what
George Floyd wasn't a drug addict.
Trump will do to the economy a few years ago to now.
Yeah, you know, the promise of a Trump presidency in the minds of the American people have turned into a reality, and a reality that for them is a nightmare. Because just take a look here. Okay, Trump will or is making you financially worse off, better off. Back in October of 2024, the reason why he won a second term, 44% said better off, outrunning the worst.
Bill Clinton cheated on his wife.
Off at 38%. But look at these numbers. Down through the floor on the better off now, just 14%. Just 14%. I see Johnny off on the side shaking his head. Trump making them financial.
What's worse, what George Floyd did or what Donald Trump did? What's worse? George Floyd, posing a phony $10 or $20 bill or whatever, cooperating with the police, having a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, or what Donald Trump said about his own daughter.
Better off. Meanwhile, the worse off, up like a rocket. The clear majority now, 57% of Americans now say that Trump is making them financially worse off. Back in 1980, Ronald Reagan asked, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? As America's look back now, compared to a year and a half ago, their minds on Donald Trump are definitely saying he's made them worse off.
I mean, look at that drop, a 30-point drop in a couple of years. And if you think 14% is low.
Yeah, if you think 14% is low, how low can you go? Well, how about this? Okay, Trump Willer is making you financially worse off, better off among independents. Look at this. The better off now is just 8. It's just 8. When you can count on your hands, the number is low. Just 8% say that Trump is making them financially better off among independents. Way, way down from the 40% who said that back in October of 2024 when the better off was outrunning the worse off at 38%. Look at that.
I got a question for my white audience, and I want to ask this sincerely. What Donald Trump said or advocated about his own damn seed, what he did at the beauty pageant, allegedly, whatever, what he his name, not alone, but his name would happen to be in the Epstein files, and him getting totally upset that he didn't want the Epstein files to be released. If the man is innocent and he had nothing to do with the Epstein files, I mean, if he wasn't involved in any of the stuff, then why didn't you release it? I'm just asking. Would you want to continue? Let's just say he does 3.5, right? And he gets impeached, which I hope he does, and gets sent to prison. But let's just say he gets impeached again for the second time, or is it the third time? Let's just say he gets impeached. Would you want, and JD Vance is coming right behind him. JD Vance is your president. Do you question JD Vance? Do you question JD Vance, and do you question the next president if the next president is a Republican? Do you not question his not credentials? Do you question what he has done? Do you not ask questions? I'm just stating, because this is not. This wouldn't even be my kid. My kid would not be involved in none of that shit. God forbid. Because America would not have peace. But it seems to me that, I'm sorry to say, that white presidents, and we only have one black president, white presidents seem to not keep their composure, can't keep their hands off people. It's always a great case. It's always a this, a that. It's always has something to, a case that has something to do with children. It's always something, right? And you say you want a better America, right or wrong? You want a better America for all people of all races, which you proclaim, right? Right? You want America for all people, right? You say that America is the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest place to live, right? No doubt. No doubt. Why do we keep putting presidents who have been convicted 34 fucking times? Because he's good for the economy. I thought he was going to be good for the economy. How's that looking out so far? How's your economy so far? I'm asking all my white people here. I'm asking them truthfully and sincerely. Do you want the next president to have this much stain on his resume, including what he did to Eugene Carroll? Do you want that much stain? You want stain for the next president?
That 38%, again, up like a rocket. I feel like I'm at NASA. Look at this. 64% of independents now say that Trump is making them financially worse off. These are numbers we've seen among independents over and over and over again. They have turned against Trump, and now about 2/3.
I mean, these independent numbers are staggering. I mean, 8% is not zero,
no,
but it's closer to zero than it is to 50.
That's exactly right. When you're closer to 0% than you are to 50% as a politician, you know your numbers are bad.
All right, independents obviously a key swing group. What about some of the groups that were key or have been in the past to Donald Trump's electoral success?
Yeah, normally you want to be winning over independents because the way independents go is the way the nation goes. But you definitely want to be holding on to your base. And of course, one key part of Donald Trump's base is non-college whites without a college degree. And even they are flipping on the president of the United States. Trump is or will make you financially worse off, better off. Back in October of 2024, look at that, 54% better off, well outpacing worse off at 30%. Now we're looking at basically the infrastructure. Just 15% say better off among white voters without a college degree. Trump is making them financially better off. And now even there, the majority of non-college whites, a key part of Donald Trump's base, are saying he's making them financially worse off. These are numbers that would make me, if I were a Republican running in the midterm elections, be quite worried.
These numbers are sure telling a story. The question is, at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, are they reading it?
According to the Consumer Price Index data, U.S. inflation rose to 3.8% in April. That's the highest rate of inflation in almost 3 years, in part due to the Iran war.
And supporters.
Americans are feeling the economic pain. Meanwhile, the stock market has kept going up. What should we make of all this? Joining me now is Jason Furman. He's a professor at Harvard Kennedy School and the former chair of the Council on Economic Advisors under President Obama. Jason, thanks for coming. So first, explain to us how significant is the rise in inflation, and let's take them, a kind of a best case scenario, which is the Iran war is resolved in let's say 6 weeks. Does it persist or does it rapidly come down?
Yeah, so Fareed, you have to understand there's two big things going on in the economy right now. One of them is the Iran war. The second is the enormous demand from the AI build-out. Both of those are adding to inflation.
Oh, I almost forgot. I almost forgot about AI. They're building data centers in small areas, which they do take up water and they do take up air and they do take up a lot of electricity. Now, I don't mind cyber data or going to a cyber data class. Is it cyber data? I don't think it's cyber data. I'm thinking of something else. Cybersecurity. You know what? I was thinking about doing cybersecurity. Nah. I hate cyber anything because apparently the rich people want just nothing but data centers. But you're going to take away a third. You're going to take away 44% of American workers. And what are they supposed to do? Lord, this AI is not looking good right now. Unless, whatever. Thank God for white people and Donald Trump. I guess. I'm not gonna argue with you. But yeah, the inflation, the war in Iran, hell. So you wouldn't. So the person that said thank God for white people and Donald Trump. So you're the one that wouldn't mind if Donald Trump grabbed onto your child and gave your child the big old hee-haw, would you? Nah, you wouldn't mind that. You wouldn't mind him if he would have said this, grabbed her by the face and started patting her in the face. How old is your child? Thank God for white people, huh? And I'm not saying that all whites do this. I'm not saying that all whites are sinister, manipulative type people. I'm just saying for those all the way right people that clearly don't mind what Donald Trump is doing, I was like, okay, cool. You don't mind if your child comes by the house by the presidency and has everybody take a look at her. Just saying. I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy. Some of you people are sick. Some of you people are real sick in the head. Having another 50, almost 60-year-old man said that your daughter is a piece of ass. What black man would dare say something like that to an underage child? Got a lot of growing up to do. But then again, this is the reason why the Second Amendment hasn't been abolished yet.
One of them is helping the economy. One of them is hurting the economy. So they're canceling out to a draw when it comes to something like the unemployment rate. When you're thinking about inflation going forward, I think the Iran war part of it could probably be transitory. But I say probably because it depends on the degree to which it gets built into people's expectations. The AI build out and the extra demand from that actually might have more of a permanent component to it.
So when you look at the micro data in the U.S. economy, earnings, and not just of AI companies, but earnings in general, fairly strong. The stock market keeps going up. Unemployment rate still very, very low. I guess it's not micro. I'm going to mix some of the data points seem to be very positive. And then you look at inflation, you look at consumer sentiment, it's very bad. What is the picture of the economy? I saw somebody say the U.S. economy is weak in every way except it is one mass on artificial intelligence, which is keeping it going.
Yeah, I think that's about right. A really disproportionate share of our economic growth over the last year has come from that one sector, from building data centers, from building the power that they need. And you can look at different parts of financial markets and they tell you about different parts of the economy. So the stock market tells you what you expect corporate earnings to be, but it also tells you about risk, inflation, and it's all bundled together. And on balance, the higher expected earnings are dominating everything else. That's why it's done well. But then look over at the bond market. That doesn't care about corporate earnings. All it really cares about is risk, expected inflation, those types of things. It's a really pure measure of that. And interest rates are incredibly high. They rose a lot over the last week. The 30-year is the highest in nearly 2 decades. And you're going to start to see that, by the way, in mortgage rates. So it's going to be really concrete and tangible for American families.
And then they start to drop within the following week. And then some of these stocks drop within the following week. The very high and risky ones, they stay up there for a while. They stay up there for a little while. But it's all depends how much you're willing to spend. Not everybody can spend let's say $13,000 for, let's just say $113,000 for Bitcoin. Not everybody can spend. I mean, you can possibly do Starbucks, right? Starbucks is like what, $40, $50 or something like that. I don't know. I haven't checked in a good minute. But then when it starts to drop, then it's like, and it doesn't pick back up for a while. Not saying that Starbucks or gold or anything like that is at risk, but you want to purchase something that will basically give you money for long term, but not under this administration. Not under this administration. So what do we have? What do we got here? What do we got here? So I basically told you pretty much what Donald Trump wants to do, and that's what he wants to give reparations to his J6 buddies, which is totally ridiculous. But this is what you this is what you wanted. You wanted a white man that can say to hell with people of ethnicities and different colors and different shapes and different, foreigners all over. We want to have a white nation again. And you might get it. You might just get it. But then what about the other whites who don't care much about that? What about their freedom? You don't care much about their freedom. Oh, no. That's why that's why people is just straight tripping, boy. They are straight tripping over it. Let me see if I can find some of this shit. I normally don't go to TikTok, but Jesus. What they say.
Listen, you understand me? I'm not oppressed. I'm holding. That's number one. I'm not fucking oppressed. Because when you are oppressed, you are now saying that.
I'm not interested in that. Let me see. Donald. Mad. Donald Trump.
Segregation tomorrow and segregation forever.
I keep seeing a whole bunch of people that don't look like me making videos saying that we need to do something, we need to march. No, we do not. We don't need to do nothing. The same way Target played and we took away that dollar, we'll just take away our dollar from everybody else who wants to play in our faces and play with us. Go ahead and put them signs up. We don't care nothing about that segregation. Put them signs up.
Here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget,
okay,
and we're going to send. But if they want to do it,
you lose control when you go low.
We've lost control. We're number 40. We're last on the list. We're the worst there is, and we spend more money than.
All right, restaurants I think have officially thrown the towel in. They started doing stand-up comedy with their seating charts. Check this one out.
You don't want no damn peaceful protests. What about those peaceful protests from the last administration? You can miss me with that bullshit. What makes you think I will go to a Klan rally? Excuse me, a Trump rally? Oh, shit. I'll smack you in the face. Now, shut up.
Okay, just watch this. All hell is breaking loose in a full-blown MAGA civil war. Donald Trump is savagely attacking fellow Republicans, he calls. Disloyal for daring to release the Epstein files, branding them traitors, hurting his Mar-a-Lago friends in the movement. He's unleashed tens of millions, the most ever spent in a House primary, to destroy Rep. Thomas Massie in Kentucky for leading the discharge petition, while also going after Lauren Boebert for campaigning with him and even threatening Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump calls Massie the worst Republican congressman in history despite his near-perfect voting record with him. The hypocrisy stinks. These same MAGA voices once demanded the files exposing a child sex trafficking ring, yet now anyone pushing for transparency is dead to me. Meanwhile, a New Jersey MAGA congressman has gone completely missing. Primaries are turning ugly with sleazy attack ads, and the party devours itself as wars rage and costs soar. It's the ultimate betrayal covering for the Epstein crowd while pretending to be America first.
Okay, just watch this. All hell is breaking loose in a full.
Are you tired of being gaslit yet, or have you not had enough? Because the White House put out an initial photo of Trump wearing a crown, being crowned as king. And then on top of that, he doubled down on that on his Truth Social. Now, I know there are going to be so many people who will say, oh, it's just satire. We won't be gaslit. This is not satire. This is a nudge to see what we will and will not accept. So if we sit by idly while a certain person does something that rhymes with reason, then we're complicit.
You mean treason?
This is not okay. This is not a joke. This isn't funny. And we have to do something.
That's why they came with
Are you tired of being gaslit yet? Or
that's why they came with the No King protest. And they need to have more of these No King protests. They need to have more of those, more and more and more and more. This Ohio, okay, let me see.
Robert, when you said you drank the Kool-Aid, what was it about President Trump that appealed to you initially, and what was it that made you break with him?
I mean, just seeing the lies. He put us in a war. The street, all Donald Trump wants right now is for clean face. He wants the Strait of Hormuz open. Guess what? Before he went there, it was open, and the gas prices were beautiful. I mean, everything this man touches, he's putting up gold statues of himself. I mean, when are people going to wake up? Now, I drank the Kool-Aid. How did I drink the Kool-Aid? I can't even answer that. I don't know if it was those stupid rallies I went to, those stupid... Look, I got rid of my Make America Great Again hat, okay? I got rid of that. I can't even believe I wore that hat. So,
Robert, when you said you drank the Kool-Aid, what was it about President Trump that appealed to you initially, and what was it that made you break with him?
I mean, just seeing the lies. He put us in a war. The street, all the...
Let me see.
Okay, I've heard from many of my black friends and from black content creators that you're tired, that it's time for white folks to go out in front and to take the lead in this fight against Trump and MAGA. So that's what we did. We made a documentary that ties the racism and the greed that has existed in the heart of this nation from slavery all the way to Trump, and specifically how the white Christian community has partnered with systems of oppression rather than speaking out against them, twisting the Bible to give theological justification for slavery and for Jim Crow, and now 400 years later doing the same thing with Trump. And it wasn't Jesus then, and it's not Jesus now. So please check out the film. You can find all about it in the link in my bio, and there's a trailer at the top of my posts, and it will be out sometime in the fall. Okay, I've heard from many.
Ooh. Sounds like yeah. Sounds like their people are really getting tired. Truth be told, he did say America first, right? Do you believe what he is doing is America first? I mean, for those who are just coming in, we are covering the fact that Donald Trump has basically refunded himself because he had ended up suing the government for billions of dollars, and now he has wanted a refund for that, and basically took the $1.8 billion to set free his people from being incriminated or being indicted by Joe Biden. You know, the J6er motherfuckers. The people who did the whole J6 work. I think he is deranged. Bart, we are not going to say those words in my chat anymore. We are going to tell the 100% truth. Just say what you really feel. Chat. It's okay. It is okay by We-On-Loc Nation himself. You can say what you really feel about Trump in this chat room. You can say what you really feel. No one is going to say anything to you. Trust and believe. We can even go old school. No. And L, if you want to call him an asshole, call him an asshole. I do not care. If you want to call him an asshole, call him a straight asshole. If you want to call him a bum, call him a bum. Here. For like the ape shit. The dude that went ape shit on Trump just went ballistic, just went crazy. I'm like, damn, like you get up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, homie. I mean, there was a let me cover that real quick, the whole statue thing. For those Christians who were celebrating that statue, bowing to that statue, you should be ashamed of yourself. Why the fuck would you do that anyway? And then it had a record, and after, was it recording, or he must have called on the phone or something. So this dude is really livid. He is really livid. Having a gold statue. Y'all going to hell. Y'all going straight to hell. This is tough. This is tough. Y'all bowing down to that statue of Trump. Woo, y'all going straight to hell. Woo! Oh man. I don't know. Y'all better repent. Y'all better repent. What did God say about bowing down to a God bowing down to other gods? What, boy, you better start repenting. You better start repenting, and repenting fast. And you better start repenting if you don't put. No, I'm serious though. Y'all ain't supposed to be bound down to no state. Ain't gonna have. I think he's gonna have a preacher or something. I don't know if it was a preacher or not, but needless to say, it was somebody who was involved with the church that was like, God bless Trump. God bless Trump. Can't do that. You cannot do that. For the Bible states that God is a jealous God. You worshiping, what did the Bible say about you worshiping idols? You better go to Deuteronomy. You read the book of Deuteronomy. Boy, when Noah came, when Noah came down, no, it wasn't Noah, I'm sorry. When Moses came down, good Lord Jesus, that was your ass. Because he ended up throwing them tablets, the tablets of the 10 Commandments down, and it was thunder, and it was a rumbling, And the earth swallowed whole a whole bunch of people for worshiping a gold item. God bless Donald J. Trump. You stupid. But I guess it's where society is. I guess it's where society is. Good evening from St. Louis. Trump is going to hell with both arms. We need to show that immediately. We need to show. If we can show this immediately, I would like to tag this on. I would like to pin this immediately. What up? Give a shout out to my St. Louis. Give a shout out to my St. Louis fans. What's up? What's up? What the fuck is up with y'all in St. Louis? Y'all can't even win a Super Bowl to save y'all goddamn life. Y'all cost me my money, man. Y'all need to give up that money, man. Y'all cost me my motherfucking money, man. I lost because of y'all. Y'all had 3 primary wide receivers. Primary wide receivers. You got Adams from, where did he go to? You got Adams from the Las Vegas Raiders. Put him on y'all team and y'all can't even win a freaking Super Bowl. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Become a member of the We-On-Loc Nation channel. Thank you for all my members. Thank you all for all my former members and my new members. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Thank you. But no, y'all can't even win a Super Bowl, man. I had my money on y'all, man. But yes, Trump is going to hell. And if he don't repent, boy, that's rough. That is rough. He said it. I don't think he said it. He said he don't believe in God. I'm gonna leave that alone. But when he does this, hold on. When he does this, that's a sign that we're in trouble. We are in trouble. Oh, it's just the AI photo. Care what it is. I do not care what it is. What else are we not covering? Have I already covered everything? Pretty much. Barb, in your opinion, where do we go from here? In your opinion, Barb, where do we go from here? I mean, Trump has pretty much woken up pretty much everyone from black to white to Hispanics to Asians to Arabs. He has pretty much woken up society and has revived white supremacy. I don't know where we go from here other than what we are doing. Voting our asses off, doing early voting, and making sure those seats stay black. I mean, those are the only freaking black seats that you have in, say, Louisiana. You have 2 in Louisiana. You have 2 congressional black seats in Louisiana. If you take away those seats, it's pretty much donezo. It's just pretty much donezo. Let me see what we can get up with, because I pretty much covered everything. Unless y'all got some questions for me. I'll be happy to answer. But I want to pin that. I definitely want to pin that. So if you got any questions for me, fam, where did he go? Oh, he's right here. Yeah, that's just too much. That's just too much for a person to get into. It's too much for a person to handle. It's bad enough that you have a bum that's going out and calling everybody the N-word, and he ends up shooting somebody and then shoots himself, and then, you know, they said they would, you know, they'll let him out for a real steep bond. I think it was $1 million bond. They let some white bond here. His bond, excuse me, I'm sorry. His bond was $1.3 million. I refuse to say his name. He gets no shine here in the We-On-Loc Nation channel. I think he's just stupid. A person with nothing to lose, no life, no anything, no job, no anything. And your last resort is grabbing, your camera phone, grabbing your gun, and going around challenging people, saying the N-word. I mean, this is the best you can do. And I'm sorry, fam. I ain't got nothing for you. The old me would have literally would have done something crazy, but I don't like that. I don't like that. I really don't like. Even Nick Fuentes, racist Nick Fuentes said that this guy should be underneath the jail. You know, hell has frozen over when Nick Fuentes says, put this guy underneath the jail. And I'm like, damn, we really are, holy shit. We really are desperate. If I had anything to do with your sport issue, if I had anything to do with your fortune, you would have won every bet in your heart's desire. And by the way, I'm a lady. Well, excuse me, ma'am. I am so sorry. And guess what? I do believe you. But that still doesn't change the fact that you had 3 primary receivers, a good running back in that matter, kind of gimpy offensive line, but that's okay. But you know what? I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. Because at least you're better than the Cowboys. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hey, guess what? Somebody wants to say hi to y'all.
No matter where you are in the state of Texas, there is an election that is on your ballot. So make sure you do your research. Make sure you get out there. We got to have the best of the best going into November. And the state house is going to be so important. As you've watched the viral clips coming out of Louisiana, or the people that are fighting down in their legislatures, whether it's going to be Alabama, South Carolina, Mississippi, and the list of Tennessee. You've seen the videos out of Tennessee. The state house is the battleground. We have to make sure that our state house flips. We can do this. I know that y'all have all kinds of feelings about Texas, but let me tell you, at the top of the ticket, Democrats outvoted Republicans in this state. We can get this done, but more importantly, they're going to go after the state lawmakers. They're going to go after more congressional seats. Y'all thought it was bad when they came for Texas 30?
What some steps you think some parents could do to do that?
Oh,
pay attention to your children, talk to them.
I don't know what's going on there. It's just glitchy. But Jasmine wanted to say hi to y'all. Jasmine Crockett is doing her thing. And that'd be that. We just gotta wait. We just gotta wait until November. How many months until November? Let's see. We are in March still, or we are in May still. So it'll be June, July, August, September, October. Months to get it together and get it right. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with this piece of shit for the next 3 years. And you don't want to do that. Primaries are happening now. Good. Good. Vote blue. That's what I say. Vote all the way blue. And I am working on an impeachment letter. Working on a petition to impeach Chief Justice John Roberts. And if I can help it, work on an impeachment for Mr. Clarence. It's time for Clarence to go. It is time for Clarence to go. How many out there want Clarence Thomas gone? Put a 1 in the chat if you finally want Clarence. If you think Clarence Thomas should go now. I think Clarence Thomas should just go ahead and hit the fucking road. I'm literally getting sick of him. Anything on the guy from Maine. Check. Supremacist Court. Yes, Supremacist Court. Yes, Supremacist Court. I didn't know there were slave owners until I looked it up. The majority, the 6 of them must go. Yep. As a matter of fact, one of Donald Trump's appointees, I think his name is Clyburn. Wasn't he a rapist or something like that? What is he doing on the Supreme Court? This is what I'm talking about, society. Society on the way. What are we doing? Rapists? Killers? Misogynistic people? What are we doing? I guess we don't give a shit about America, don't we? We really don't give a shit about America. They're all... That's like me appointing my cousin who did 10 years in prison. I was like, okay, it's time for you to take the White House. You got out of prison. Just go ahead and take the White House. What do you do 10 years in prison for? Robbing some people. It's 60% of the vote. If 60% vote is the record, elaborate a little further. Elaborate a little further. Let me see. Damn. And she doesn't even do. Hold on. Let me see.
Right now, we have a governor who is defunding public education. state. We have state leaders who have made it more difficult for folks to get health insurance. We have folks who are allowing ICE agents to come into our communities and to terrorize our community members. We're never going to get the Texas that we deserve if we don't go out and vote and make sure that we have a government that is more representative of the people who live in our communities. So,
Christian got there, and the first thing that he wanted to do was solve for a problem. That is what lawyers typically do. So we know that the 18th congressional district went almost an entire year without representation. That should never happen. We had other members that passed away after Sylvester, yet their successors came in and replaced them a lot quicker. And so the first thing that he decided to do was file legislation around that particular issue. Not because he felt like it was a partisan issue, but because he felt like it was the right thing to do. He also has made sure that he has gotten really involved in our caucuses. So it is interesting. He shows up to the Black caucus before I'm there. He shows up to the Progressive caucus before I get there. He makes sure that he is on the floor before I am there.
Oh.
He has decided to get engaged in debates on the floor. He has done floor speeches. He is doing it all. So God bless him. But he decided, because he did not get an orientation, his orientation is pretty much limited to what members like me are telling him he needs to do, because he did come in mid-session.
Supreme Court is now allowing the gerrymandering of districts across this country so that they can strip folks of their representation. They're coming after your voice because your voice is so powerful. So you have to make sure your voice is heard.
Yeah, they're complete dunzo this time. Number illegible. Well, if we don't, I don't know how they're going to spin it this particular time, because let's just say, I don't know how they're going to do this. Let's just say that they demolish or abolish pretty much everything that stood in Whitey's way, right? The First Amendment, or excuse me, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, the Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act. Let's just say all that's gone, right? And you just have, Klansmen that represent you. You don't vote for them. Do they win anyway? Does that even count? Or to just say, oh, fuck it. Hell, who's going to just put them in there anyway? Because this is what the Supreme Court does. This is what the Supreme Court does. Hell, the Supreme Court ain't nothing but a bunch, representative of a bunch of slave owners anyway. You know what I mean?
For a very short period of time, because we want to stop the threat of being blown to pieces by a lunatic. Everybody says that's fine.
President Xi.
That's right. That's a perfect statement. I'd make it again. When you tell somebody you're going to have to pay a little more, not that much more, a little more for gasoline for a very short period of time, because we want to stop the threat of being blown to pieces by a lunatic. Everybody says that's fine.
President Trump ran on an economic revival, yet nearly 2/3 of the country say his policies are making the economy worse in the short term.
So as soon as we get that straightened out, we will get back to the kitchen table issues.
But the president scored a political win last night, boxing out sitting Republican Senator Bill Cassidy from a runoff in the Louisiana Senate primary. Cassidy voted to convict Trump in his second impeachment trial after the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
When you participate in democracy, sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. But you don't pout, you don't whine, you don't claim the election was stolen.
The president is hoping for another political win this week, the possible defeat of Republican Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky in his primary on Tuesday. Massie was one of the leaders of the bipartisan push in the House to release the Epstein files. Jerika?
Olivia Rinaldi at the White House. Thank you.
People changed the world. I was with Senator Warnock last Sunday, and we were at Ebenezer Church in Atlanta. And after his beautiful sermon, Senator Warnock took me to the original Ebenezer that Martin Luther
Like,
King
share, and
Jr.
subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe.
had preached at and had organized.
I should have something for
And we
you.
sat
Not
inside
this week,
that
not this week, but
sanctuary.
this coming
And
Saturday
what
or
has
Sunday.
struck me was how small it was.
Support
And
the
Senator Warnock
channel.
turned to me and he said, this sanctuary only fit 300 people. And he said, Congresswoman, can you believe that this sanctuary of just 300 people changed the world? Those 300 congregants at Ebenezer Baptist Church turned into those congregants at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church right behind us here today. And from Dr. King's work right here on Dexter Avenue, we saw the launch of the Montgomery bus boycott. And it was right here in Montgomery where we saw some of the most cruel repression in the history of America, where we also saw the highest angels of American history rise to create our democracy. Because it wasn't until the Voting Rights Act that was passed that we even had a democracy in this country. There was no democracy in America until every human being born here was guaranteed and protected the right to vote. But we know what happened after those bus boycotts. And we know what happened on the trail to make sure that we got that legislation passed. Because with every expansion, there is an attempt at regression. This Supreme Court, under Justice Roberts, is part of that long history of regression and repression in America. But they do not triumph, Montgomery. You triumph, Montgomery. And I am here today because I want to make sure that we all understand that Montgomery is not alone, that you all are not alone. And for all of those watching today, when they ask, what do we do in this moment? I feel helpless. What action can I take? It is time for the North to pull up to the South. It is time for New York to pull up to Alabama. It is time for all of us to come to Georgia, to Louisiana. Exactly what they have uncorked with this injustice. They think they can draw us out of power. They do not know the sleeping giant that they just awakened. Because it is not a coincidence, and our whole country must understand that it was not until voting rights were ratified in this country that we got the Great Society. When voting rights are protected, our country moves forward. In Montgomery, that's what they're actually afraid of. They're afraid of us coming together. They're afraid of us protecting others. Alabama is the crucible. Georgia is the crucible. So if you are not from here, it is time to pull up. Because what they thought was the final blow is actually just the opening silo.
What do you think? Now, ladies and gentlemen, voting for AOC. But push comes to shove, put a gun to my head, Donald Trump, AOC, it's AOC all day. But I don't think Gavin Newsom, allegedly, I ain't voting for Gavin Newsom. And then you have AOC, possibly, maybe. So you got 3 candidates there for the Democratic side. The Republican, possibly Ken Paxton, whoever. The choice is up to you. Like I said, I should be doing something this coming Saturday. I will definitely be live on Sunday, depending on what they got, because the days are about to get heavier because it's summertime and people are starting to come in. Not a whole lot because the capacity is only at 30%, because we're not getting that many visitors. We had AED come in. I guess AED is this group of individuals who just are like the LGBTQ community, but they just disguise it or whatever, and they dress butt naked. I mean, they dress in odd shit, just odd. Basically, they want to be free. It's just like Woodstock from the 60s and the 70s. They dress like that, you know. Other than that, I don't see anything happening in Las Vegas, in New York, in California, other than the beach. Trump has really put a hurt on the United States. So unless something comes up, fam, unless he gets impeached, which should be coming up real soon, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Become a member of the We-On-Loc Nation channel. Support the channel. And like I said, thank you to all my new members as well as my former members. Thank you who all has supported the channel. And I will be seeing you real soon.